Welcome, broadcasting to the entirety of the Super Smash Bros. Community. This is Beyond the Metagame. I'm your host, Peon, this week live from the International Space Station. I'm joined, as always, by wonderful co-host, AV. AV, how you doing, big guy?
Dude, it's looks great up here. Got a nice view of the sun. It's not. I don't have any sunscreen on, and I think we're in a.
Look, bro, you're Indian. I'm a ginger, man. This is gonna be rough for me. But hey, it puts everything into perspective. Looking back at the big, beautiful little blue orb, everything looks so trivial, from up here.
Yeah, I mean, you told a joke like 10 minutes ago, and I think my sides were literally thrown into orbit. So.
Wait, is that even an expression? Your thought? Your what?
No, it's like you lost your sides. So some people like you can enhance on that and say like my sides have gone into orbit.
Abhi, what middle-aged men have you been spending a lot of time with recently? Anyway,
dude, Reddit.
This week, AV and I were privileged to be united with a sister show. Can we say that sister show? You think that's accurate?
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, another podcast in the Super Smash Bros. Space called the Smash Bros. Cast. And their two hosts, N64Josh and NightCrawlr, reached out to AV and I and said, hey, let's get something on the calendar. Let's do something together. And so we did a kind of a collaborative stream. And originally it was supposed to just be one of their episodes. But what kind of ended up happening in the discussion that the four of us had, two podcasts converging, was this very beautiful marriage of like our show's formats. Like you'll definitely hear a lot of Beyond the Metagame in their recording that we're going to present to you today, and you'll definitely hear a lot of their show too. So it'll be really fun, man. It'll be really fun to listen to. I think. Abhi, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, it was really cool. I did notice that there was a lot of back and forth in terms of questioning. It was really strange. I was like, wait. Like Peon, we're the ones getting interviewed. Why you're like you're interviewing them, and
I couldn't help myself when I'm in front of a mic.
I loved it. Yeah, it was great. It's like and I'm like, dude, that was a great question. This added so much more to the discussion, and it really made sense as four podcast hosts converging in one discussion. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it really will feel like a collaboration of two different shows for sure. They are very much oriented. They're more of a giving a beginner's perspective. Both of them are just entering the Smash scene for the first time, so you're gonna hear us talk to them about that and kind of go through their journey, and hopefully we can all kind of learn from them. And if you're a grizzled veteran listening to this like AV and I are, I think we can definitely appreciate some of the stuff that they're going through and reflect and reminisce about some of the first tournaments that we attended and how we entered the scene and compare experiences. I think it'll be a fun conversation to listen to regardless of where your skill level is currently.
Yeah, I think it was an absolutely great conversation to listen to as a beginner, and I don't think I really need to add any more. Yeah,
man. Hey, quick shout out though. Before we say anything else, we had a couple new countries enter the arena. So guys, thank you so much from wherever you're listening. But special thanks this week if you're listening from Finland and Estonia. We know about you. We're happy about you. Thank you so much for listening. AV, before we hop into this episode proper, anything else to say to the listeners?
I don't think so, but this will be a great treat for you guys, and I hope that you enjoy the double interview that's about to come at you.
So all that and more in just 1 second. One last thing, guys, before you hear this main chunk of the episode, I do want to say, after our interview with Crawler and Josh, AV and I do wrap up the show, reflect on the interview, and answer some of your questions. So make sure to stay tuned after the interview with N64Josh and Crawler.
You're listening to the Smash Bros. Cast episode 47.
And also, the Beyond the Metagame bonus show.
I'm your host, N64Josh. My sparring partner, NightCrawlr. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. We got this is a very special episode. We got the hosts of Beyond the Metagame. Peon, what's up, buddy?
Yo, guys, it's so good to be here. AV and I, Peon speaking, listen to you guys' show week in, week out, and it's awesome that we can finally get together and talk with you.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Like I love like interacting with your community. You've done a lot of cool stuff. And we had Peon come on your stream once and give you a lesson on Smash. So I love all of these interactions, and I'm glad that I could finally be here to talk.
We are so very glad to have you. Before we jump into everything, guys, if you want to get yourself a free book from Audible, go to audibletrial.com/SBC. The chair I'm sitting in is from OP Seat. I love this thing. You go to n64josh.com/OP Seat. You automatically save $10 at checkout. That's going to be it for ads. We want to get to the content. I did my first local. Like, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be a crazy show. So we're going to do a little. Well, let's get into this. All right, so this is going to be kind of different than our normal show. Normally, we're going to go through our news and all that kind of stuff. We're just going to kind of talk. This is going to kind of just be like conversation time. Two Smash Bros podcasts coming together to just, we're going to take some questions from the chat. We'll talk about, just how we're doing with the game, that kind of stuff. I'm going to kick it off with just like asking you guys, Peon, give us just a quick lowdown of your show. Like, we've mentioned you guys on here before, but like kind of break it down for us.
Sure thing. So when me and AV set off, we wanted to, because who's AV and Peon in the Smash community? It's kind of a meritocracy where the most popular content creators are the best players, right? Zero, Leffen, the big guys in the content creation space are also the biggest guys who compete. And so AV and I thought, okay, we can't just talk about Smash. We don't have the personalities for it. We're not smart enough. We're not funny enough. So it has to have some sort of utility. So what we do is we try to equip them with the tools to both be better at the game and to have more fun with it. So that's kind of our mission statement, and that's what each week we try to do that. And we also bring on experts to contribute their insight and help us with our cause.
I love it. AV, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, Peon summed it up really well, but in general, like, our whole shtick is that we're looking at beyond the metagame. We're looking at what can people do without touching a controller, which is kind of a really cool concept. It's because when you think about improving at a video game, you don't think about meditation or sleep habits or learning how to learn a new technique or improving things that appear tangential to like progressing as a gamer. But there's so many things that we've experienced as competitors and so many like situations that we've been in that we thought that we would have really valuable insight. So that's kind of where we're coming from and why I think we have received some traction, even though we weren't really known before it, as Peon said.
Yeah, I love the content. Right. I love listening to you guys, and like, I do find myself like thinking about just the mind game. Like, one thing I've wanted to talk about on this show that I just forget to bring it up. I used to play golf. Do any of you guys golf at all?
I golf. I'm a bit of a golfer. Okay.
So when I first got into golfing, which was a long time ago at this point, I had some old school books that I picked up, like really like from the 50s, I think. Like, so the lessons from so I remember one of the things they said is there's like 110 things you need to remember for your golf swing, and you're going to remember about 3 of those every time you step up to the ball. And I'm telling you, like, I feel that with Smash. I feel like there's about 110 different things I could do every time I start a new match, and I remember about 3 of them.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about I do see the analogy between golf and Smash, because golf, it's one of those things where there's 100 different ways to get better. And it's almost like, you're walking down a path and it forks, and every single option you pick, there's another fork, and so on. And it's exponential, and there's so many things to think about. And that's the beauty of Smash. That's the complexity of it. That's what we love about it. But if you just tell someone, that's the most common question that AB and I get is, okay, how do I get better? I just want to get better. And the reason that there isn't an answer to that is because there's so many aspects of the game itself which you can improve on. Neutral, option mix-ups, edge guarding, recovering, and then of course out of game. Being confident in front of a stream of people, playing a matchup you've never played before. There's all these different little things that you have to learn in your quest to become a good Smash player. And I do see that in golf as well. I think it's an appropriate analogy.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to think about like all of these concepts that you theoretically have to lock down, like 100 different things when you're playing Smash. You have to think about the neutral, the advantage, character matchups. There's 70x70 character matchups in this game. Like that alone is
more when you add the Mii's in with all their crazy combinations.
There you go. You have to know you have to know the costume matchups. You have to know like if a certain costume is going to throw you off. Like you don't like pirates, like you have to know you're playing against a Mii costume pirate. But the thing is that over time, people talk about this thing called autopilot. Autopilot has often been like a good thing and has been viewed in a good light and a bad light. And in my opinion, the things that you do automatically are kind of get wrapped up in this. Like you have 100 things, but most of them, once you start training them, you lock them away. They become standard. So you don't really have to think about them actively. There's a few set things that you think about actively that I think are really crazy, like mind games and like stuff that's interacting with the other player.
Yeah, I really like the way you said that, because that's exactly it. It's right now for me, it's a bad thing, because when I go into autopilot, it's full hops at like kind of jumping away from my opponent and then trying to throw a back air. That is my autopilot to a T. My first match in my local yesterday, that was like, I really wasn't all that nervous, but I really felt like as soon as I started playing, I forgot everything. That's kind of what it felt like. And so, I totally get it. But as you practice, the longer you play, the more you start kind of, just building that arsenal, those things will be you will be doing autopilot like that. And for me, I was really hoping I would be further along, especially like for streaming and that kind of stuff, because when it's in autopilot mode and it's good, you're able to interact a little better. You're not you're not leaning as far forward. You know what I'm saying? You're not having to concentrate so hard. So
Josh, I'm curious, when you did your tournament yesterday, do you feel like, first of all, I want to hear all about it. Please walk us through that. But before you do, do you feel like you played differently? Were you the same Josh, or did you play a little bit more conservative than you normally would? Like how did Stream Josh, or how does Stream Josh compare to in tournament Josh?
I would say this. I think we, it was a little, there was 200 over 200 people. Right. So it was big. I was like, am I even in the right place? Because they had different areas set up for the pools. Right. And so, but what was kind of confusing is it said, station 1, 2, 3, and 4 are here. And then they had station 3 is right there and station 4 is right there, and then nothing for 1 or 2. So I was like, I don't even know if I'm in this room or if I'm supposed to be way over. There was this room all the way across GameWorks. And so that was just a little bit confusing at first. But when I finally sat down, I had talked with a few people, kind of, just some small talk, things like that. That was pretty cool. When I finally sat down and my first opponent picked King K. Rool, I was like, oh, I got this. Right? Like, that's how I felt. I felt like I got this. And I think I almost went into it with a little, maybe overconfident, And then I ended up just doing stupid things and not. I know that my matchup with Rule, I have to punish his mistakes, because although he's got great recovery and all that other stuff, you get him to whiff something and he's easily punishable. But I kept attacking shield and doing just stupid things like it just, and it takes me away. Like even on stream, a lot of times it's either one or the other. It's my first game is my best game of the day, or I get warmed up and then things start, kind of start firing on all cylinders. And so, the first, I landed a killer spike against Rule, and then I couldn't turn around and get my up B, and I SD'd, like I up B'd the wrong direction. And the guy bro stopped me. He was in our tournament today. He's a super cool guy. Sith, I believe is his name, or Scythe or something like that. So, so it's good chat with him. It was his first term. Like everybody I talked to, they're like, "Oh, this is my first time." Or a lot of people, this is my first one. All three people I played, the last guy I played for my third round, he had played at Don't Park on the Grass. And that was his first time trying to play competitively. So I got 2-0'd my first match, and then sat down with the next one, lost the first match. And then after that, things kind of just completely turned around. And I can remember a point in the game where I did a forward throw to a dash attack to a spike, and I had the kid on the ropes the rest of the game. He was just like, he literally, he just goes, whoa. And then at that point, like he didn't come back from it. So
doing the zero backpack cam, stream your tournament, and then throw that one on the daily spike, man. That's what you got to do.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I told him to do that when we were getting off the podcast yesterday. I was like, you got your son with you. Is like, you got a cameraman with you.
Yeah, exactly. And
turn on Streamlabs on your phone.
And I should have done that. I should have for my third match. So what happened with my third match is he was a Roy. So I was like, okay, well, this is good because Crawler's been playing Roy.
Wait, Josh, to clarify, this is your so you won another match in losers.
So my pools. Second match I won.
Oh, it was pools.
In pools. Right. So
then
was
round robin pools, or was
some of it's still kind of new to me. So like,
yeah. Did everybody play everybody, or was it like double elimination in your pool?
It was double elimination. Okay. Yeah. So I lost my first and then won my second one. And then going into the third one, I barely lost the first match. Okay. Just barely lost the first match. By the second match, again, things started popping, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be able to beat this guy. And I was losing percentage wise, but I had him at about 40, and we were on, I believe we were on Town and City, and I hit the spike. I got the lightning. I was like, and he hit the ledge. Oh. And it completely, it just messed with my head. And so like, I was ready to fist bump him, and then, cause we both kind of thought it was over.
Yeah.
And then I ended up, I don't even really remember what happened, except for I ended up SDing, like, and that's how the match ended. So like, we both were like, no way. Like, the thing is the momentum had changed and everything, like, cause I had already spiked him through the platform once, and almost immediately came back and did it again. So I was like, okay, I'm going into the third game confident. And then it just came to a screeching halt.
That's the thing. That's one thing that I think I love Ultimate. It might be my favorite game of all time. I don't want to say that yet. You know what I mean? It's still early. Like they could add like Joker could come in the game and just have like a one-shot button. You know what I mean? Like the game. You know what I mean? Right. Piranha Plant could just have a move where he eats you at 0%.
Piranha Plant gets you from across the stage, so you never know.
Dude, you're right. But one thing that has broken my heart, similar to how it broke yours, is that situation where there's the slow-mo lightning and you think you've won the set, and you're like, whew, I won, and you have that little dopamine release, and you exhale.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh,
That's exactly
yes.
what
Josh had one hand off his controller too.
Yeah,
I've
you're
seen people
stretching.
drop their controllers.
You're looking at your son, he's cheering you on. It's all great. You look back at the screen, and the game's still going on. And that little heartbreaker moment, I think, is one that we'll all start to understand. Like the whole, like it's not over till the fat lady sings thing, I think is something really important.
But that's the fat lady coming out. Like that's the problem. Like I hope this can like get addressed. I think we've talked about this a little bit on our podcast. I don't know if you guys have yet or not. But like I hope it's something that could be patched eventually, because you would think the zeros and ones inside the game could know. And if it's possible to DI out of something, or it's you're gonna hit the stage like it happened with Josh, like don't do if there's any small chance that it won't kill, don't do it.
Yeah,
Like
so that's a really weird thing, because like sometimes like bad DI can cause these kills, or like no DI causes the kills, or like what if you get it on a DI mix up? So like I think the way that they've programmed it is that there's like this sweet spot where they theoretically can get like 80%. Because otherwise, like it's because you can never guarantee it, right? If it's guaranteed, then it won't show up. It'll only show up when it's like really obvious that things will kill. I actually had a situation like this. So you know how like DK does his like little cargo down throw off stage thing to kill people. So I was in tournament. I was playing as this Pokemon trainer, and I jumped off stage. Like she thought she was dead, and I cargo down throwed her into the blast zone. And it did the huge zoom in, the red lightning, and the thing is, I knew that wouldn't kill because I knew that it with DI and the position that I was at, there was actually a decent chance that it wouldn't kill, and she actually like just said, okay, good game after that, and like started to unplug her controller, and I said no. I was like actually telling her, I was like, oh, it's like, yeah, it was in my interest to not tell her to do that, but I was like, don't put your controller down.
Abhi, that's a new move. That's when you run out and just there, drop the hammer.
Yeah, I mean,
no mercy.
And she quickly like picked up her controller again, and she recovered back to stage. But I mean, I did end up winning, but it was like, but yeah, this is like actually non-trivial. Like there are situations where people are like legitimately like putting down their controllers.
As I say, I've only been to my local twice here in the last month since I've started going, but I've heard so many stories of people talking about the lightning hitting and them either putting down a controller or walking away. Like, yeah, and it's all recoverable for a lot of times.
Crawler, I'm
the stories they're saying.
Oh, pardon me. I'm inclined to agree with you in terms of it would be better if it was more conservative with how often the red lightning shows up. But I do have to say, if I'm being selfless, and I'm talking about like the tournament spectator's perspective, I think the drama of the slowdown, like, oh, he's dead, right? He's dead, and then they survived, and that's like a really hype moment for the viewer. And I think that Sakurai and their team don't want to give that up. I do think like long term for Ultimate as an esport, it is a great moment. And as a player, it can be frustrating, but I think we just have to deal with it. I think it's one of those things that sucks, but I think like net, if you account for everybody's experience, I think it makes the game better. I don't know. Feel free to disagree.
I'm glad it happened when it did. We can talk about it now that other people can learn from this. Like, it ain't done until you see game, right? Like, don't put your controller down. Don't assume for a second that it's finished. That's the thing I've learned the most about Ultimate, is that there is a lot we have to adapt to. That doesn't make it bad. It makes it different than what we're used to. And it just means we have to adapt. And that's just the way it is. Like, you can complain or you can adapt and improve. That's kind of where my head is at. The thing that was one of the coolest things about the local one, people were awesome, right? But my son sits down, he plays a snake and gets 2-0'd, and the guy just laughed at him. Right. So I was like, well, that's not cool. Right. So, and I didn't find this out until after the fact. And so then he played his second match against a I can't remember if he played his first one against a peach and that guy laughed, or I don't remember, but he just played a peach and a snake, and both matches were rough for him. And he's been playing Breath of the Wild Link, and so he's just sitting there because I'm still in, right? And so he went and sat down, and we both had our Switches with us, and so he somebody else there was like, "Hey, do you want to just play?" And so they started playing. And the guy just looks at him after he beat him, just looks at him and goes, "Stop dodging and throw stuff at me." And that's all he said. And after that, the guy did not win again against my son. Right. And so my son is pumped. He lost 2 matches, but then he's like, "This was awesome. Like, I just needed that." Then we got home because we didn't stay for the whole thing. It was going to go super late. And so we ended up coming back, and he jumps in and starts playing Young Link because he wanted to be able, and so all of a sudden at first after he lost the 2, I was like, oh, he's going to be bummed out. This is, he's not going to want to come back. No, as soon as he talked to that one person that gave him that advice and he was able to immediately see improvement, he's like, no, this was the best thing for me, so overall.
How old's your son, Josh?
He's 15. My younger one's 15.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that, I've been in the scene a long time, AV as well. I'm sure you can attest to this. And you do have that thing, whether it be father or son or brother and his little brother come by, and there's like a younger, 15 is not super young, but, you're still a kid in many respects. And it's awesome. I think that one thing that's what I love about Smash is it gives people, young people, old people, all sorts of people, all this like arena to compete in. And we all share this arena. It's kind of cool, it sucks that guy was rude to your son, the first guy he played, but maybe that was like an Ash Ketchum Gary Oak moment, where like now he has his rival that he'll eventually overcome.
Was that Pokemon?
Yeah.
Come on. 16, I know there weren't any. Come on. There was a Pokemon game on the N64. Josh, yeah, you should know.
He didn't even beat Mario 64 until last year. You can't guarantee that he's played 64 games.
This podcast doesn't need more dirty laundry aired out. Come on.
But yeah, I absolutely agree. Like as a TO, I think one thing that I received, like the feedback that I received more than anything else, is that when you make someone's first tournament experience special, when you check in with them and when you make sure that they're playing new people and make sure that other people who are in cliques are like interacting with them, and you make it like a really welcoming, enjoyable experience, like it does so much for their like attitude about playing competitively. And I love to hear stories like this about how like people are inspired by even just like one dude who just sits down with them and teaches them a little about the game.
But Crawler, Josh, you guys both are new to the scene, right? And at least when it comes to actually going to events, Crawler, you said you've been to 2 tournaments. Josh, You've been to 1. Do you, tell me about? What have you guys learned? Like, what? I'm so curious as to what your guys' perspective is on, like, tips to survive your first tournament.
Well, I know my first game of my first tournament 3 weeks ago, my first game was put on stream.
Oh.
It was just, I think, luck of the draw of just how it went down. But luckily, like I work with some kids that are involved in the scene, and one of my coworkers, his brother is like number 1, number 2 in the state. He's been back and forth kind of just throughout Smash 4's history. He's been finishing like routinely like second here since Ultimate's been out. But the fact that I was able to kind of fall in with them and kind of watch them play as well, but also that one of my coworkers was commentating my match that was on stream, and I was able to come back home and watch it and listen to some of the stuff that they were saying about my gameplay while I was there doing it was really good. And I've going back and looking at it, I was doing they called me out for doing it, the exact same thing. I was doing jump get up off the ledge, and I was trying to do down air attack with Corrin just over and over and over again against a snake, and it was getting punished just repeatedly. So that was really good to see. And but the other thing is just like getting to being at a tournament, just there's anywhere from 15 to 30 probably stations set up anywhere around. if you're in it still, you have time in between your matches. If you're out of it, you can hang out as long as you want, but just float around and watch all these different people playing, and you can see all sorts of different tactics and play styles and characters being played. And you can just try to, I mean, I'm pretty introverted when I'm not here at home or whatever, but if you're comfortable enough talking to people, striking up a conversation, try to get some friendlies going once kind of all the craziness has settled down a little bit, when they're not using all the stations, or if you have your Switch with you. So just like Josh's son did, like play some friendlies just on your Switch or whatever. And it's a good way just to learn and see a lot of different, more so than what you would just like at home online.
I think one of my biggest takeaways from it, like, because I kind of assumed going there that I was going to be playing against all these people that had all this experience, and that, you know, I was just going to get just beat down, like, and that really wasn't the case. I didn't feel like any person I played against, I couldn't have beat. I know that I'm a slow starter when it comes to figuring out my opponent. That's why, you know, all three of those matches, I lost my first round, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that's something that will improve the longer I play the game and the more I get used to it. But that was the biggest thing for me, is that, like, I was like, you know what, this is really no different than playing somebody in quick play. It's just that we're going to have a better connection.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, because you don't know who you're going to be playing on quick play. They could be the best in, you know, whatever state. They could be, you know, crazy good, or they could be just starting out. You're going to, and that's as popular as this game is. And when there's 200 people there, you know, and you can kind of tell looking around, like, oh, they've been here a while. Like I saw, you know, I got a little gray in my beard, and I can see a few other people with some gray in their beard, and they're like, oh, I've been here since we've been doing this since Melee, you know, like. And so it was just really cool to see. Like, I would say I'm looking at chat too, you know, because like Leo, his first experience going to Smash 4 was very unpleasant because people were just rude, and, you know, it's full of old salty dogs, as Syke says there. And so, you know, and that's totally be the case. But like, everybody's just pumped right now. Everybody's just so excited. I mean, you know, and everybody's kind of showing up nervous and not knowing what to expect, other than the people that have been in the scene for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you guys, because there's this phenomenon that I personally subscribe to, and you guys, I don't know, NightCrawlr, you didn't say, but Josh, you went to a 200 person local. Generally what I found is the smaller the locals, the friendlier the people are. Because, you know, you're forced to treat every single person more like a person when, you know, like when you're 10% of a local, it's a lot different than if you're 0.5% of a local, and in terms of how people treat you. And, you know, because I've been to some tournaments in SoCal that have had 200 people in it. And, you know, the TO, they don't have time to learn your name. Like, they have sponsors and budgets, and they just need to get the tournament run. And they're more looking to be efficient. But if you go to a local of 15 people, you know, people learn your birthday. You know what I mean? People know what your favorite color is. It's this really intimate experience, really quick. And that's why I'd say, like, a pro tip, if you have access to it, find the crustiest card shop in your town, the smelliest one, and there's probably going to be a weekly there of like 10 really good people. And so that's just like a little Peon pro tip.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Like, I've had great experiences at both like massive tournaments and really small events, and I think mixing it up, building relationships at like these really small ones, because you're going to be running into these people over and over again. So that's where you really want to find your sparring partners, which are really important at developing your skill at the game. The thing I attribute to my growth as a competitor, I'm not going to speak for Peon, but the thing that I attribute is basically being able to have Peon as my practice partner, and we kind of just go back and forth over and over again. And there were definitely periods where like he would be teaching me stuff about the matchup. I would be teaching him stuff about the matchup. We'd go back and forth, and we would always be beating each other. And I think then finding those people is really difficult at these 200 person events, but maybe at the crusty card shops you find these relationships.
Well, and I would say somewhat of an advantage having a 15-year-old son that wants to play this game somewhat competitively, like we can play literally. It's like being in a dorm almost, you know. It's just the two of us, right? So it's like you kind of get used to just having that same. You pick up on each other's patterns and everything pretty quick, but like, I don't know, just even as a dad, it's pretty awesome being able to do something like that with him that he enjoys. So,
it's cool. Avi and I professed this idea that Smash is this very intimate experience. You know, the way that you change your habits in game often is a reflection or is like a projection of the way that you adapt to any situation in life. And I feel like it's a cool thing to be able to like play Smash with somebody you're close with, whether it be your son or family member or good friend. I feel like you know and love somebody, and then you play Smash with them, and then you know, love them, and understand them. Like this third eye opens up. So that's really cool that you guys have that to share with.
Yeah, well, and we've talked about it on here before, but I mean, when they were little, we went through Subspace Emissary, both my boys, you know, and it was such an exciting thing every time a new character showed up, like, because they were really little, you know, so it was, you know.
It was super exciting too. I love Subspace.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah. So, guys, we want to take some questions from the chat, and we're just gonna kind of talk some fundamentals, and you know, Crawler, maybe you've got, we maybe can ask these guys. I mean, these guys are veterans, you know, if we got any questions or whatever. I mean, you know, we get the same question regularly. How do I get better? How do I get better? Right. And it's like, I'm not better. How am I supposed to answer this? You know, but I mean, even today, like I had to take a break from what I was doing and played a couple matches with Crawler, and we had our buddy Get Wreck Becker was in there, and I have struggled against his Little Mac. It has been like just like I just do the dumbest things, and Mac will punish you like no other. And so it wasn't until today that it was like I jumped in with those two guys, lost my first match to Crawler, just barely, but lost it, and then lost my first match to Super Nintendo, and then came back and then won both the matches against him. And I haven't beat his Little Mac. I mean, I may have, like, when the game first came out, but it's been a while. Usually it's not pretty. And what kind of clicked in my head was just that, like, what I want to do in every match, where I just am patient, wait for the mistakes, know what approaches work, and do that instead of just continually jumping in front of his fist, because it seems like that was like my MO, you know. And so I mean, Crawler, what so, well, like, you take before you got in today, like I was practicing my Roy, and I think I got destroyed like 2 or 3 games in a row. And I told him, I was like, all right, no more Mr. Nice Guy. And I went and got Corrin, and I beat him twice with Corrin. And I was like, all right, I've done my piece. I was like, I'll go back to Roy. But like, it was something that I had to fall back to something that I was comfortable with, that maybe is not the most competitive. And that's something I guess you guys talk about, is like, it doesn't have to be the meta that you enjoy this game. Like, I mean, that's part of the reason why I've wanted to pick up Roy, is that I want to have a more competitive character. But in all fairness, like, I enjoy Corrin's toolkit that I have and what I've grown comfortable with since Smash 4. But yeah, I mean, moving forward, I definitely want to try to expand. Like, there's some guys in our Discord that are just able to put the button on random and still do really well. So I mean, that's something I eventually want to strive for, as well, is just getting comfortable with those move sets, and I guess that probably comes with just a really strong neutral game that you can adapt throughout, like, the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the question, like, how do you get better? Like in comedy, there's this thing where if you ask a comedian, you know, where do you get your ideas? That's like the worst question apparently you can ask, because they're like, I don't know, dude, I'm funny. Just get over it. And I feel like how do you improve is kind of the Smash equivalent to that. Like, if you ask Mewtwo King, hey, Mewtwo King, how do I get better? I'll be like, dude, leave me alone. I'm trying to eat McDonald's. So, but I have thought about this for a long time. I mean, we've made 20 podcast episodes on the subject, and I've been trying to theorize, okay, like, what is a
What can I just tell somebody? And I think it's just a multi-tiered approach. You have to find out first, what am I bad at? Am I bad at combos? Okay, go to your character's Discord. I guarantee they will either have a spreadsheet or there will be a dude who's in there who will be more than happy to tell you every combo that your character has. Are you struggling against a certain character? Go to their character's Discord. Same exact situation. Are you just kind of getting edge guarded a lot? Work on your recovery. I think it's all about identifying the weak part of your games, and kind of like how Michael Jordan said it. Make your weaknesses your strengths. And I think you have to just identify all of the different aspects of your play and take them piecemeal, one by one. I think that's the best place to start, anyway.
Yeah. I love that, because there are like pretty simple answers to a lot of these questions, and like Peon said, like learning tech is basically mostly about going to that My Smash Corner, that BB Smash Dudes video, and saying, okay, that's what it is. They've told me exactly how to do it. Now I just got to do it in training mode a few times. Playing against a character, same what Peon said, going into their Discord, getting information. But the thing is that, like Peon was talking about this multi-tiered thing, there's another tier to that. And that tier is like the motivation behind doing it. Like, why would I set out to go to that Discord? What is motivating me to go into that training mode and spend 2 to 3 hours there? What enjoyment do I get out of it? And at the end of the day, is this investment going to pay off in a meaningful way in my life? And the thing is, like we talk about a lot, and like Peon said about learning your weaknesses, introspection and understanding why you play the game and for what and what you want to get out of it solves half of these things, because it tells you why are you not doing the things that people are like pretty obviously telling you to do. Are you playing to get better? Are you playing to beat your friends? Like, do you want to get Elite Smash with Palutena? Like, there's like so many different reasons that people could do these things. And understanding truly what you want out of the game is honestly half the battle, because sometimes you're just being held back by a mentality that is preventing you from being motivated to do these things that seem pretty obvious.
AV, if I could piggyback off that, a real life example of this is AV in college. When we went to college together, he was the dude. He had a bunch of different things. He was in a jazz band. He had a social life. He had a girlfriend. He had, I'm sure he had a friend. He, in his play, decided, look, man, I'm a mid-level player. I want to be a mid-level player. I don't really care. I don't need to be a pro. I just want to figure out what I can do to beat the people that go to my local. So he employed this strategy where he played as Donkey Kong, and all he would do was ding dong people. Donkey Kong had this thing where he could do a cargo up throw into an up air. It was a crazy kill confirm. And he simplified his gameplay in the most basic fashion, almost like he was playing a one-player game, and reduced his gameplay to the most simple strategy. And he based his entire playstyle around that to match his circumstances in life. And it really worked out for me. He ended up just dominating the region for a long time until people figured out how, he'd probably won 10 tournaments in a row or something with that strategy. And I do think that that's why we give that advice.
It's so funny that you say the ding dong. Last night I watched Congo play against one of the TOs, at least somebody that was helping out, right? And a couple funny things happened. First, the guy was screaming as Congo grabbed him and walked him to the edge to then throw him off stage. And I mean, he's screaming, yet I could hear him mashing his controller louder than he was screaming. It was that intense, right? And then right after Congo threw him off the stage, Congo's mom turns and looks at me and goes, "That's the new ding dong."
Dude, I love Congo's mom so much. She is so great. I love that she goes to all those tournaments. One time I bumped into her physically. We were in a tightly like sardines packed in this corner. And I was watching Congo play my buddy J Tails, and I I'm talking to Congo's mom, and she didn't really know who J-Tails was. So she's like, hey, I'm Congo's mom. I'm like, hey, I'm Peon. Nice to meet you. And she's like, is that guy good? Pointing at Congo's opponent, J-Tails. I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good. She's like, oh, no. I hope he's not good because he's playing my son. And she was just the most chatty, lovely woman. I hope, Josh, you got to be friends with her.
Yeah, he lives about 40 minutes from me. So, yeah, it was just that was a highlight of the night because literally this TO is screaming, but he's mashing his controller just so loud, like it's like echoing through the place. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. So
that's a new definition of the Echo Fighter.
Yeah, right. So we got a couple of questions from chat. This is from Leo, and it says, "What's a good way to get back into Pilot and out of autopilot?"
Can I take this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So like I think I mentioned the term autopilot beforehand, and the thing is that there is a strange obsession with kind of getting into the driver's seat, being in control of your mind, basically having agency over your play and basically what you're doing and how you're interacting with the game. And the thing is, this is a bit of a kind of a trap to fall into sometimes. Autopilot is a manifestation of all of the things that you've learned and basically a culmination of everything that you've perfected. When you're autopiloting, you are just basically playing with all of these tools that are second nature to you. Mm-hmm. When you're piloting, that just means, I think, in my opinion, that you're thinking about the other player. Similar to playing the piano, I've used this analogy a few times. Beginner piano players will look at their fingers when they're playing on the piano. Expert or even basically intermediate piano players will look at the page in front of them. They'll look at the notes. Similarly, in Smash, beginner Smash players will look at their own character and look at what they did. Intermediate and expert Smash players look at their opponent's character and what they're doing. For most people, piloting is actually just consciousness of what people are doing. You'll find yourself falling into this if you are basically conscientious and aware of what's going on. Getting into pilot is basically as simple as saying, what is your opponent doing? How did you die? How did you get kills? And being able to mark these things and understanding that everything else, like you have no time to practice anything in the game, so anything else is irrelevant. That should be autopilot. Piloting and getting back into pilot is as simple as marking things on a checklist. Understanding this is my win condition. This is how I've been getting there. This is how my opponent's been trying to stop me. And if you are able to acknowledge this and able to be aware of it, I think you have successfully taken control of your mind, because these things are what informs piloted play.
I think for me, my autopilot is immediately back air. That's like autopilot for me. Right. And then what happens mid game, this happened to me in almost every match yesterday. I was like, okay, back air's not working. Let's mix it up. And I would do short hop down air. And then all of a sudden that's working. And then nair followed by a jab combo. And then nair followed by a grab. And then all of a sudden I'm comboing. All of a sudden I'm at advantage over them, and things are popping. Right. But before that, as long as I just kept throwing back airs, it's like, I wanted to bang my head against the wall. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, it's not an effective strategy. Like, throw a couple and then mix it up. Right. And I think what it is and I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit on the show, like some of the worst things that you can do when you go online, like when you go into quick play and then you play against somebody who's way less experienced and all of your bad habits work. And you're like, oh, I'm getting better. And you're like, no, you're not getting better. Like, watch that replay. What did you do to win? And if you can see, you can pick apart all the stuff you did that you're like, this does not work against more advanced players. I got to stop it. I have to stop it.
That's what I'm guilty of.
Dude, it's the worst because like you think you're getting, it's like it messes with my head because I'm like, oh, I'm improving, I'm getting better, and it's like, no, because the reality is what percent and how many stocks did that player take off of me that really maybe shouldn't have taken any if I was playing the way I would against a better player, you know?
Yeah, I think what you and Avi are both saying. AV more long-windedly than you, is that awareness is so is that you need to be aware. It's awareness. If you're autopiloting, the solution is, every time you play a game, think, am I autopiloting? Before you even go into the game, when I autopilot, it's like Inception. You got to get kicked. You got to get out of the dream. And you really have to consciously say, okay, this game I'm not going to autopilot. Even what I do is I do association techniques. So I'll play a song, and then during the chorus or whatever, or during a certain part, I'll check back in while I'm playing. I'm like, okay, as a reminder, to kind of reset and to refresh my mind. Do whatever you have to do, but just you have to be conscious is all I'm saying.
And I've seen that a lot with music. At my local, I've seen multiple people with headsets on that will have a track on. I've even seen them go to their phone and reset the track. So I mean, that might be something as well. Just find something that you can cause yourself to reset or something like that. That's I mean, not a bad idea.
Yeah,
I like it. Another question from Chad. It says, this is from Prime Griffin. What do I do when I combo in the lab, but play with 0 combos in matches? My life, Bible thump.
Oh, Prime.
So, I mean, look, the lab time is important because what's going to happen is you get the muscle memory. You're eventually going to start pulling those combos off. They will happen. When Ultimate came out, you know how many up throws to up air combos I was landing consistently? 0. You know how many I'm landing now that are following up to even bigger combos? I think, in the lab right now, I think my highest combo is 11. And that's my goal when I go into a match. It's I just talked about how I've done back air. Now I need to do down air. Now I need to do, now I need to start doing some there's so much you're thinking about. You're at low percentage. Okay, I could get a grab to a down throw to another grab to an up throw. You're trying to, you're playing this percentage games. That's why I said there's 100 different things. There's probably more than 100 different things to remember because it also depends. Am I playing a lightweight? Am I playing, a heavyweight? How's that differ? Stay in the lab, go in the lab and keep practicing. That's what I'm going to say. Where are you guys at with that? Peon, where are you at with that?
Yeah, the important thing is, Prime, are you talking about are you doing combos in the lab and then playing online matches? Because if that's the case, your timing might be a little bit different. There's an input buffer online. So before you cry, about your life, before you do the Bible thumps, make sure that you're still landing combos in person because that it could be as simple as that. Also, what could happen is maybe you're playing a little bit more nervous. It's a real opponent. Pressure's on. And I think it's unfortunately, I have nothing more than what Josh added. Just keep playing, keep going for it. No stress. Just go hit the guys. Eventually, you'll be a combo expert. It's just a time thing, I think.
Yeah, I think for me, the best advice that I think of is something that Peon has told me a lot. And that's make sure to be going for everything in friendlies. You'll be doing it in the lab, but just make sure those crazy stuff, those attack cancels and those really cool combos that you are only getting against the training dummies. Make sure you're going for it in friendlies. Sometimes you want to win friendlies because it's pride against your friends. You want to you want to. And you do want to be that guy that's generally winning, but trust me, it's a long-term investment. Do what Peon said. Just go for the cool. Just go for everything in friendlies so that it transitions onto the matches that really count.
And one step further, I want you to lose all your friendlies. Next time you play online or offline, I want you to lose all day long. but I want you to learn one thing. If it's one combo that's really hard, I want you to land it every match as often as you can and lose. I don't care if you win.
Yeah, I mean, Peon's been landing like the attack canceled bears like all the time now, and he like the moment that video came out, like Peon was like, "I'm on this," like, and he went in the lab, and not only that, he was doing it in pretty much every friendly after that, and now it's like pretty much second nature for him.
I haven't won a game since. Longest losing streak of my career.
Break that down for us real quick. What is that attack cancel bear?
So, fantastic question. I've been kind of like the John the Baptist of attack cancel bears.
Are you eating locusts and honey, man?
yeah. In the promised land. I would say Jesus, but that's blasphemy. So no, but the thing is attack canceling is a groundbreaking tech. D1 actually commented on it when My Smash Corner, a fantastic informational YouTube channel, put out this video. D1 tweeted, he said, "Watch this and learn and take notes. This might be the most important tech video to ever come out for Smash Ultimate." Certainly, so far, it is. And it's a technique that, when implemented correctly, allows you to use to do a perfect turnaround aerial, so like a perfect turnaround back air. Like, let's say you're Bowser, you can walk up to somebody, instantly turn around and back air them, where you couldn't do that before. And also, it allows you to do an aerial in the middle of your dash, which, okay, what does that mean? Who cares? Why does that matter? It allows you to do certain combos and to get certain kills that are true that otherwise wouldn't be. Some characters benefit from this technique more than others, but everybody benefits from it. So I would just watch the video, and to get more in depth to that, I don't know if it'd be worth it.
Okay, I'll find the video and get it in the show notes.
For sure. It's important to watch. I think that's the most important thing to take away from it. Got
you. And, you know, he typed in chat, "So lose. Thanks for the advice, guys." But honestly, one of the things that keeps me from getting salty, I lose on stream all the time, right? But I look at each match and go, okay, what did I learn here? Right? Or what did I, like, if I pull off like a sick spike that's not just your typical, I've watched somebody double jump and, you know, they had no other option. But like if I go deep for a spike and then make it back to stage, I'm like, no, that was a win for me because I needed it. And this actually happened yesterday against the kid I beat. It might have been the factor, you know, that changed the momentum. I went so deep for a spike, I couldn't make it back up. And he like turned and looked at me and was like, "Bro, you know, like, what are you doing down here?" You know?
Josh, I'm impressed that you, in your first tournament, you're already going down there swinging. Like, I've seen a lot of people at their first tournament, and usually the characteristics of their play is very defensive, very scared that, okay, I can't lose. I don't want to lose, so they don't take any risks. But I'm happy to hear you going down there and swinging.
Oh, no. It should have been a final stock, you know, but I was like, we gotta. Because like I said, I think I got in his head at that point, like, this guy's crazy, you know, like this guy may be nuts. And so I'm like, let's go for it, you know? So, but no, I see Rustbelt talking like there's so much information, and there is. And that's why, I mean, look, I've been playing Smash now more serious since the announcement of Ultimate. When I started looking at this, I've said it on here a million times, it was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. There was just like, how am I going to learn all this?
Yeah, it's good we played in private at late nights on Wednesday nights or whatever it was when we first started playing, because it was
so bad.
Ugly.
We would laugh because we couldn't even touch each other. We would both roll past and then grab the wrong direction and then roll back again and grab and we're like, cool. And that's funny, like way down the road now, we're like, that's happening, but it's like, oh no, that's actually kind of intentional, right? Like we're trying to figure out the mind game, but before it was just like complete lack of knowing what to do whatsoever.
So that's actually one thing that really intrigues me about you guys. Like, Avi and I, one thing I love about like our podcast's relationship is that we have completely different perspectives. Avi and I are pretentious Smash veterans that have been in this game too long and just want to spread the good news. And you two are like eager beginners, but from a competitive perspective. And it's so awesome to hear like you guys go through that journey. For me, that's what keeps me listening, is like listening to your updates, watching you guys improve in game. Why Smash? Like, you guys, even before you got into it, kind of decided that you were going to get into it. You know, like, what got you hooked and what's kept you here? Like, why is it rewarding to you, I suppose, is my question.
Well, I mean, I think I've had all the games. I mean, it's not like I'm new to Smash, in the sense of wanting to get to the point where I can go somewhere in a tournament setting and try to be somewhat competitive. I mean, eventually be competitive, but I mean, I've had some wins when I've been in the loser side bracket, but I mean, it's a love of just, I think I see this game as kind of a romantic kind of thing towards Nintendo. It's a love letter to all the franchises that have ever been involved. And even now it's branching out further. And so this just being like the staple game of last year, when Josh kind of presented the opportunity for me, I was all about it, just because it's been a game that I've loved, but I've never been like, it was the reason I got a Wii U. I mean, I have like 6 titles for Wii U, but it was a reason I got the Wii U, because it was a Smash title coming out on it, and I wanted to have it and play it. But yeah, that's kind of the reason for me. It's like, I've been a fan of the series back going to, what was that, 99, I think, when 64 came out. But yeah, it's just been, it's history. And that's what I love about it.
For me, like, I come from a shooter background, like all the way going back to GoldenEye, right? And I was the best at GoldenEye with all the people I played with. And then we would do Halo LAN parties, and most of the time I was the best at Halo. And you know, and then you start doing Halo 2 and you get online and you find people that are on a whole nother level. I remember the first time I played Halo 1 through like Xbox Connect, and like my gamer tag was Neo, and all these guys did was kill me and then type out Neo sucks with bullet holes in the walls. Right. Like, that's all, you know. And so that was like, you know, some humble pie, but I mean, yeah, but I loved the fact that I was above average player when it came to shooters. I mean, even now we throw in Doom on the Switch and I'll go in and do fairly well. With fighting games, other than like Killer Instinct and Street Fighter, and I was a one-trick pony with Street Fighter, you know, heavy kick to sweep, right? Like that was pretty much it. That would work against my friends, but it wouldn't work really well in the arcade, that kind of stuff. And since Nintendo is kind of lacking in the shooter department, and Fortnite for me isn't something that I really wanted to invest a ton of time in, it doesn't keep my interest. I was like, you know, it's time that I finally understand this game. I remember the first time I saw like a fox go under the stage in Melee and come back. There's a fairly, like, I'm sure it's a very well-known Melee video. If it's like 2 foxes, I think, and they just fight all the way around the stage. And I was like, that is amazing. Like, that is so cool to watch. And I think that might even been the first time that I was like, there's so much more to this game, you know? And so there were times that I would sit down and like, okay, I'm going to really try to learn this. And then I just wouldn't. And with the popularity of the Switch and knowing that it would be probably Nintendo's most popular competitive title, I was like, let's just do this thing. You know, I was really into a game called Destiny, had a podcast about it and everything. And had some good friends that had another podcast called Crucible Radio. And the idea of their show was just getting better at Destiny, right? And just documenting the progress. And I'm like, I'm just going to do that with Smash. Right. We're just gonna document our progress. We're gonna bring in people that are much better and listen to what they have to say. And heck yeah. Shout outs to Swain, Birds and Bones. I love those guys. Like, dude, love those guys. I love
Crystal Radio. Yeah. Josh, I feel like we'd be homies because I love Bungie games. Crucible Radio is amazing.
Yeah.
Those guys do great stuff.
like they're good friends of mine. Like especially me and Swain and Bones. Like we've hung out a handful of times. Like they're really, really good dudes. And so
it's a small world. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. So, so that's like seeing the success they had doing something like that. I'm like, I'm just going to do this. I want to go into this humbly and go into it like not like I'm an expert, because I'm not, right? I just want to kind of be real. I don't want to fake anything. I just want to go, hey, I'm going to suck at this for quite a while, but I'm going to document my progress and hopefully people are going to grow along with me. And it seems to be working because we get messages all the time like, hey, I'm just starting and I'm getting better listening to your show. And I'm like, cool. I don't know that I totally understand it, but I'm super glad to hear it.
Well, I think I do understand it, Josh. I think that you're great. One thing that's fun to listen to both you and Crawler is you guys foster this like wonderful excitement for the game. It's so genuine and it's so captivating. Like when I first started playing this game, I was just hungry for more content, even before in the pre-release news cycle. And I think that a big part of enjoying this or improving at this game is enjoying it. Like a Rust Belt saying, like, there's so much information to it. I just want to press buttons. If you just press buttons and have fun with the game, eventually you're going to get better. I mean, me and AB say this, improving this game is like a mountain. And every time you play, you take a couple of steps of the mountain. Sure, there's faster ways up. You can take a gondola every now and then if you know the way around the mountain. But if you just play, you'll improve. And I think that's one thing I bet you do help with people is that you help them enjoy the game more, and then that helps them improve.
Man, I hope so.
He worked a Celeste callback into that one there.
Yes. You have to be Madeline.
Yeah, I will say though, it's like not to be the bearer of bad news all the time, but sometimes when you play, you do take steps down the mountain, and that's okay. Like there's times where when you play, it's like you get really frustrated with the game. You feel disenfranchised with the game. You feel like you don't know why you're not improving. You hit a plateau. You feel like you're winning using the same things over and over again. Like you mentioned, it's awesome that you were really self-aware. It's like that when you're playing someone worse than you on quick play and you use the things that you can just always get away with. It's like there's these times where you know that you're either not making progress or you make regressive progress. But the thing is, those are just wonderful parts of the journey, and I agree. I love listening in and hearing where you guys are at, and understand. And you guys are just in this like loser win, which is the most wonderful thing for us to hear is that just the perseverance aspect of just playing the game for the love of the game.
Yeah, dude, it's a blast. And we're always learning so very much. So, and I'm super pumped to try these attack cancelings into the attack cancel into bear. Cause like I have been throwing bears in the lab for the last close to a month now and still am not happy with my progress. So, yeah, I'm pumped. Well, hey, we've hit an hour. Let's wrap this thing up. Peon, where can we find you?
You can find me at Peon_GCE and of course at Beyond Metagame. Twitter left no room for the at Beyond Metagame. Also, guys, you can find me on Twitch at Peon Chop, and that's Peon with a chop, and that's all.
Avi, how about you, bud?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at A plus my long Indian last name. That's right, it's right there. Abhi Vaidyanatha. You'll find it you'll also basically be linked to it if you go to @Beyond Metagame. Make sure to check out our website, beyondthemetagame.com. There was space for the on the website, so make sure to check it out. It's we have a lot of fun.
Right on. Crawler, where can we find you, boss?
You guys can find me hanging out in the Discord, n64josh.com/Discord. Do you guys have a Discord as well you guys want to promote real quick?
Yes. Abhi, what's our link to that?
So you can find our link to our Discord at beyondthemetagame.com. If you go to the About page, it'll say, here's a link to our Discord. and if you click that, you'll be sent right to it.
Sweet. And then also just hanging out on Twitter, NightCrawlr724, NightCrawlr's without the E, and then as well on Twitch. We'll get some streams up and going here soon.
Right on, guys. You can follow me everywhere: Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all the places. It's at N64Josh. The show notes for this episode will be n64josh.com/SBC47. We'll have the link to that video with the attack canceling, that kind of stuff. So make sure to check that out. And guys, I just want to say thanks. Thanks. The tournament was awesome. Like, it was great gameplay, and like, you guys, you know, the chat and everything, you guys were amazing. Peon, Abhi, thank you guys for putting out great content week in and week out, and for doing this. We're gonna have to do this again.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yep.
All right. Well, all right. That's gonna do it for episode 47. If you guys have a chance, rate and review on iTunes. We'd appreciate it. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.
Welcome back to Beyond the Metagame, and I suppose this week, the Smash Bros. Cast. But right now, it's just AV and Peon again. We wanted to kind of talk about the conversation we had with Josh and kind of take a moment to reflect on it, and also to field some of your questions that we have lying around. You know, we didn't record you guys an episode last week, so this is kind of a bonus episode, and we definitely wanted to do some housekeeping, check in with you guys. So, AV, you want to, I before we hop into the questions, do you have any thoughts? Like, have you been thinking about the conversation that we had with Crawler and Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I just found it really endearing. I really love hearing their stories about attending their first tournament, and it just makes me think about all of the people who are holding back and not going to that, and not taking the jump to go to that first event. And I really hope, if you're in that position, I really hope the thing that you take away from this is that it has the potential to be an amazing experience for you as not only a competitor but as a person. You can meet people that are obviously going through the same thing that you're going through, because of how early this game is. You're definitely gonna meet someone who's new to Ultimate at your first tournament, and kind of taking the advantage of that right now is something that I would really recommend you. And yes, like we talked about, people have bad experiences sometimes, but in the majority, I have seen that it's always usually just a few bad apples here and there. So definitely try to take the jump. It was worth it for me. I'm not going to speak for Peon, but I think it's absolutely been worth it for him too.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be on the mic if we didn't
Yeah.
agree with that. But yeah, I want to really challenge you. You know, if you're listening to that and you've been to a lot of tournaments, like, you know, like I have, I've been going to lots of tournaments in Ultimate so far, and you know, there are times where I'll underperform, or maybe I won't play a certain way that I want to, and I'll make some like mistakes where I feel like I shouldn't be making. And it's easy to be jaded and old and weathered as like a veteran of the game. And, you know, I really want you to kind of like take the enthusiasm that Crawler and Josh have, and try to, you know, put that into a glass bottle. Try to hold that close to your chest, and remind yourself why you got into the game in the first place. I think it'll be, I hope it was some valuable fuel to reignite some of your guys' passion for Smash. But I think that's all we have to say about that. Before any what am I trying to say? Let's do the questions. First one from B264. Being pretty new to Smash and not able to get Elite so far, what would you recommend I do for locals? Should I sign up and watch? Should I sign up and watch? There's a very active community in my region, and you know, B Squared is not really involved with them at all yet. AV, this is you.
Yeah. So first of all, a few things to break down here. Getting into Elite is not necessarily a sign that you shouldn't be attending tournaments. So I'd say go. Like we just talked about, it's really important that you get out there, make friends, learn new matchups, learn how people play in person. There's definitely a huge culture that you need to get used to. So go into your first event. I'd recommend, even if you're not playing. Like, so the next question is, should I sign up or watch? And that's absolutely up to you. I just think you should get out there. That's the most important thing. Now, obviously, I would recommend you to sign up because it's a good experience. Just get just get experience playing in tournament because it's a very different environment. It's extremely high pressure sometimes if you're someone who really likes winning. It's you find yourself doing a lot of the same options. You understand how you work when you panic. It's kind of a beautiful thing as long as you look at it introspectively. But if you are still on the fence, just go there, play some friendlies with people, just get some games in, and watch how the culture is, and try to get acclimated to it. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Cool. Yeah. So let's go on to the next question. Nintendo gamer Chris asks, "Is there a Japan exclusive game you'd love to play / have played through unofficial means? P.S. Mother 3 is the best JRPG I've ever played."
Yeah. I don't know if it's Japan exclusive or not. I know it's just not available in North America, but it would be Phantasy Star Online 2. So I played the original Phantasy Star Online. I believe on the Sega Dreamcast. I was playing it. Super fun game, like multiplayer game, super ahead of its time. It was kind of like a multiplayer. Oh, it's almost like what like Destiny eventually became. It was like a shared world game where you like fight monsters with guns and get loot and stuff. It was a cool game. They made a sequel to it, but it's not available in America. What's up with that? Come on, that's racist. I'm upset about it. What about you, Abhi?
That's funny. Yeah, I think at a base level, probably Pokemon Green because I've played every Pokemon game, and I want to have that one off my checklist. It was not available in America as we only had Red and Blue and Yellow, I suppose. But in reality, it's not. I don't think it's a Japan exclusive game, but I think it was sold a lot more in Japan, and it's called The World Ends With You, and I believe there's a Switch remaster coming out, so I will definitely be playing that.
Dope. Azura EL asks, "Is having a significant other who doesn't support your Smash career the most annoying thing about relationships?" It is for Azura. LOL. I didn't say LOL. They did.
Yeah. That's an important distinction. I think this is very, first of all, a very loaded question because this involves me possibly taking a side, and obviously I know Azura from our Discord, and they're an awesome person. But I think that I want to answer this as neutrally as possible, and I think that as long as Smash isn't interfering with like normal day-to-day life, I think it's important that the base minimum is that your significant other is just supporting your hobby and supporting your competitive drive. I mean, they just need to be okay with you doing it. They maybe don't have to. They're not obligated to play the game with you or show up to tournaments with you. But as long as I think that the baseline is probably just like being okay that you're playing the game, as long as it's you have a healthy relationship with the game. What do you think, Peon?
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. I think that you have to be fair to her or him. They don't have to be your cheerleader. They don't. Of course, it's nice if they are. They don't have to, watch you get to Elite Smash. Of course, it's nice if that's the case. But as long as they're not judging you, saying, "Wow, I wish you played like football instead of Smash," or "I wish you, watched, reality television with me instead of playing Smash." It's complicated. There's a lot of different factors at play, but I think you summed it up perfectly, Abhi. I think if I said anything else, I wouldn't be adding anything. I think you really nailed it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that. I've heard a similar thing come out of your mouth, so I'll give you some credit for that. So let's go on to Kmor's question. What's the best advice for playing competitively you've ever gotten?
Yeah, so back early on in my Smash, we'll use Azura's wording in the previous question. Career in my Smash career early on, a player by the name of Super Sega Genesis. Well, his first name was Genesis, but his tag was Super Sega. And I was a Falcon main early on in Smash 4, and I was back in the day you could do mid-set coaching, so like in between games you could like talk to your homies and be like, "What am I doing wrong? Like, help me out," which is so funny to think about. It seems like so long ago that you could do that. And my homie Super Sega was like, yo, Peon, why aren't you just like F smashing? Like the dude just gets up from ledge every time and just spot dodges every single time. Just wait for the spot dodge and hit him. And I'm like, well, what if I miss with my, what if I miss? Then he can just like back throw me. He's like, well, dude, just take a risk. I mean, you play Falcon. How else are you going to win? Like, you have to kill him somehow. And I'm like, huh. And what that got me to do was to start paying attention to my opponent's habits, which sounds so dumb, but now to me, but like at the time, I didn't really realize how important that was. I was super new to the scene. So ever since then, I realized, okay, what is my opponent doing? Like, how does he go about his decision-making process? Like what things does he do over and over again, and how can I best punish them? And that aspect of my gameplay hadn't ever even been challenged before he was like, dude, come on, bro, what are you doing? And for me, I always remember that little encouragement he gave me. Well, guys, with that's all we have for you this week. Thank you for listening to this bonus episode. I know it wasn't a typical BTM fare, but thank you for sticking around this late into the show anyway. I hope you enjoyed it. The collaboration between BTM and the Smash Bros. Cast was a lot of fun for us, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the change in format. Next week we will be back to our normal grind. Expect our shows every Thursday, and we have a lot of good content in the near future prepared for you guys, and we have a lot of stuff in the works that I know that you should be excited about actively. Guys, we already mentioned our Twitters before, so no need to now. Thank you so much for listening. As always, goodbye.